This news was incredibly popular, and it took me a while to figure out why, but I think I got there. At the Fortune Global Forum, Jenny Johnson, president and CEO of Franklin Templeton, discussed the company's strategic integration of blockchain technology into their financial services. Managing over 1.3 trillion US dollars, Franklin Templeton stands at the forefront of integrating blockchain into the financial mainstream, evident from initiatives like launching a US regulated mutual fund on public blockchains and filing for a Bitcoin ETF. Yes, they are one of the 12 companies who's also trying to get a Bitcoin ETF launched out there. Johnson made a distinction between Bitcoin and blockchain because she's still living in good old 2015. She noted, "I think it's important that we differentiate Bitcoin and blockchain. Blockchain technology is going to enable access to things like private markets," end quote. The really weird part is that they're actually one and the same, and Bitcoin is on a blockchain. So once again, cool. Her vision for blockchain extends beyond cryptocurrencies. She said it's about the democratization of private markets by reducing the friction in transactions to securitize or fractionalize ownership of complex assets, end quote. For those of you who don't know, it's always a gigantic, and I mean like the size of a building, red flag if you ever hear someone extremely wealthy talking about democratizing markets. It means that they're basically trying to find other ways to make themselves richer and their friends within their actual friends group, because these people actually never care about democracy and or helping other people. Just throwing that out there. For those of you who also might have missed it, a large part of the cryptocurrency news as it stands is typically about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, you name it. The other part that's really ramping up, and we heard about this years ago, and I mean like 2016, 2017, but now it appears to be possible and everyone appears to be on board, is actually basically putting items on a blockchain. So not physically taking your diamond or your home and shoving it into a blockchain, but kind of like the information that you would normally have stored at a government building or website or whatever, being on the chain so that it's kind of there forever. It's digital. The ownership of this home is digital. And as it is on a blockchain, you yourself, the owner of it, would be able to mathematically fractionalize it through the usage of a smart contract. That is to say, let's say at some point you're like, okay, I want to give this house to my kids. You have 3 kids, so you give each of them 33.3% of the home, and you maintain the last like 0.01 or whatever the actual case might be. Is you'll be able to do this as opposed to being like, how do I say this? You know how like families like fight over assets when a family member passes? Like that's kind of the idea, is that it kind of becomes a thing of the past as opposed to having to. Anyway, you understand that. And also the entire idea is that anything with value can also then be fractionalized as well. I made a video. This was on the other channel, Money Rules. I made this about a year or 2 ago, and I think maybe I didn't explain myself enough, or maybe people just didn't want to kind of understand. The name of the video was like, "You are never going to be able to own a home in the future." It was something along those lines. And I think people thought it was clickbait. No. The interesting part is that we see not only our normal investors, families, but also like institutions and like sovereign wealth funds and like mutual funds and institutions, what have you, are buying up tons of real estate. The idea is that in the future, they're basically going to own all of it. We've had that news before, as much as how much institutions will be able to own in the future. And basically in the future, normal people will not ever be able to own a home. The dystopian part of it is, let's say you in the future are like, I really want to get on the property ladder. So you're looking for a way to get into real estate. And one of the only ways for you to do it is find someone who on the blockchain has put their home there and is willing to fractionalize it. So let's say they maintain 40% or 50 or 60% of the home, And then the other 4 little brackets, they also allow you. So then you are able to buy 1/10 of the entirety of their home. And that's going to be the way, that will be the way in the future that a lot of people are ever going to actually get onto the property ladder. It is very, very fascinating, the world that we are rapidly moving into. And for those of you who have never heard of it or looked into it, look into the amount of real estate that sovereign wealth funds actually own. That is to say, like a government or a government family. There are a couple of them, a dozen of them, who own massive amounts of real estate around the world. Look up who owns. There's a family that owns, I believe, 10 to 15% of all the real estate within London. It's not the UK royal family. That's a hint there. Look at who owns around, I think, 30% of Rome. Anyway, that's an entirely different topic in and of itself. Here's the tweet for it right here. It says Franklin Templeton's Jenny Johnson on Bitcoin ETFs, investing in crypto, and how her firm is harnessing the blockchain. So, we still haven't gotten to the point that was actually really popular. Elaborating on the efficiency blockchain brings, Johnson said, it's going to make more efficient the types of products you have today. Imagine you build a pooled vehicle on the blockchain. She envisions the technological shift leading to atomic settlement, which removes the potential for fraud. It takes out latency in the system. Basically, you can't really lie if it's inscribed on the blockchain, and everyone can look at the information. You can't say that it's A when it actually is B. And the article continues. She talks about Bitcoin ETF. She's like, it's in the hands of the regulators, yada, yada, time frame. Always, she's like this, and she likes AI. And then we finally get to the part all the way like 30% near the bottom where we actually finally hear about her and cryptocurrencies. And this was the popular part. The CEO's personal investments in cryptocurrencies, though a small part of her portfolio, I assume she's a mega billionaire. So does small mean like 50 million? Is it like $500 million? Like what's small to a billionaire? Apparently she's holding Ethereum, Bitcoin, SushiSwap, and also Uniswap as well. Regarding future blockchain or crypto-related products, Johnson maintained, our job is to make the products available. That's so vague, it's ridiculous. This was incredibly popular news, and it took me a while to figure it out, like I said in the beginning, because I was like, why did this make super popular news? So people thought this was spectacular, wait for it, because she holds crypto. The idea is that this very wealthy individual holds cryptocurrencies and is expecting crypto prices to rise in the future. And her company has also filed for a Bitcoin ETF. You would assume that she had said something along the lines of like, I just bought every last bit of Bitcoin out there, come at me, or something like that. Nope. They filed for an ETF. They're still waiting. She owns Bitcoin and Ether and SushiSwap and Uniswap and MumiSwap and DubiSwap and all these other things. And this was one of the most popular news stories that we had out there. Isn't crypto fun? That's the Franklin Templeton's Jenny Johnson owns crypto news and plans on using blockchain in the future. I mean, I'm shocked. I would have never guessed from the news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in excessively popular news, recent statistics have revealed that MicroStrategy, the company who continues to buy up all the Bitcoin on the planet, has seen a significant increase of over 30% in their Bitcoin investments. The company has invested, here we go, a total of $5.3 billion into Bitcoin, with the current value of their Bitcoin Cash reaching roughly around $6.915 billion as well, marking a substantial profit of $1.6 billion on top of all of that. MicroStrategy has experienced this notable growth following Bitcoin surge past $39,000. Keep that in mind. All these things were like recorded and written around the time Bitcoin had just passed $39,000. Currently, MicroStrategy stands as the largest holder of Bitcoin, probably of everyone, surpassing both public and private entities. Oh no! Oh no!